let me rap to y'all for just a little bit. A culture is supposed to help people living within it to solve their problems, their issues, and ailments.
America freed the slaves, but gave the slaves no land or nothing to get started on.
If that culture is not doing that, then the people within that culture must throw that culture in the ash can of history. The Democrat Party has been a portion of our culture for over 100 years. In this video, we're going to look at the relationship between Democrats and black folks, specifically reparations and the failed opportunities that these Democrats have had to make things better for us, to give us that check.
Hello, Senator Warnock. Hi, how are you? Very good. I want to ask you about reparations. Listen, for lineage.
In black culture, when people come around talking that nonsense, when people come around telling us stuff that they don't even believe themselves, but yet they expect for us to believe it.
You lied on us the last time and said that our guns were not loaded. We'll let you know they're loaded today.
We simply say, hey, you need to go on with that bullshit.
What's up, Kinfolk? Good.
Before we begin, I have got to ask y'all this question, and I really want y'all to think about this. Does the black man and black woman living inside of a suburban gated community see black lives in the same manner that the black man and black woman living inside of the ghetto see black lives? When you look at this, this is when you have to start asking yourself questions when you hear that the individuals that started Black Lives Matter live in million-dollar mansions. It's the same, in fact, idea of the slave mentality of the house Negro versus that of the field Negro, and whether or not if they saw slavery the same.
And the house Negro always looked out for his master. When the field Negroes got too much out of line, he held them back in check. He put them back on the plantation. The house Negro could afford to do that because he lived better than the field Negro. He ate better, he dressed better, and he lived in a better house. He lived right up next to his master.
If the Democrat Party has been a part of our culture for over 100 years, and once again, if that Democrat Party has not been a benefit to black folks, then black folks need to get rid of the Democrat Party.
The Democrats have been in Washington, D.C. only because of the Negro vote. You put them first and they put you last because you're a chump.
Matter of fact, black folks should get rid of all parties because all of them are the same. If we don't own and control our own party, then none of it is doing us no good. But let's go ahead and start with this 100-year relationship, if that's what we want to call it once again. Let's start with this guy, the 28th president, President Woodrow Wilson. This guy started the New Freedom Program. At this time, black folks was voting Republican, but people like W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T thought that with this program, he was going to be a benefit. The Democrat Party would have been a better benefit to black folk. So they supported this man. But what did this Peckerwood do? Just as soon as he got in office, the first thing he did was segregated his cabinet. Black folks had postmaster jobs at the post office. We lost them. We lost failed opportunities. And this was the first time, or one of the first times, that the snake, the Democratic snake, bit us. But we didn't learn. Because the next thing we know, we had President Franklin D. Roosevelt, 1933 through 1945. This period of time was during what they called the Great Depression. Now, y'all know just like I know that if it was a depression for white folk in the 1930s, you can just about imagine what it had to be like for us. To combat the loss of jobs during this depression period, he started what's called the Social Security Act. But did that act support us? Did that act benefit us? Emphatically no. Why? Because it excluded migrant workers. And at this time, black folks worked the field for other folks. And once again, here we had a Democrat president with a Democrat Congress. Why didn't they give us reparations then? Okay, but it goes further. So now we're getting into the 33rd president, President Harry Truman. Democrat president, Democrat Congress. No reparations for black folk. But what we did get was an atomic bomb and a Manhattan Project that was full of Jim Crow laws and unfair wages, unfair living conditions, all in one. In fact, the racism was so bad, people were calling it the Mississippi of the North. Ain't that something? I'm a Mississippian myself. Individuals who even lived downwind from those work sites where they was building that bomb were catching cancer. Now, folk, y'all have got to use your common senses about this that we just saw. If times was hard or depression was for white people, then you can just about imagine what it was like for us. Look, they didn't even care enough about us to even document the illnesses that we caught behind working with all those chemicals. I guess it might be because they was too busy injecting us with syphilis and Tuskegee. Well, the next president that we're going to talk about is John F. Kennedy. Once again, black people went out and voted. No reparations. A Democratic president with a Democratic Congress. If they loved us this much, if we meant this much to them, then it wouldn't have been a problem for them to have given us reparations at this particular period. But it goes even further. Because the next two is Jimmy Carter, Democrat. Bill Clinton, Democrat. Both had a Democratic Congress. Still, black folk voted. No reparations. How in the world are we getting this ideology, this thing in our heads that black folk have got to be Democrats when Democrats have shown us that we're not their first priority? The only thing we got from Bill Clinton and Jimmy Carter was a discount on probably peanuts.
With the big grin was still Jimmy Who.
My name is Jimmy Carter, and I'm running for president.
And a crime bill that was passed and put us in the penitentiary.
When this bill is law, we will have 100,000 police officers on the street, a 20% increase. It will be used to build prisons to keep 100,000 violent criminals off the street. We will have the means by which we can say punishment will be more certain.
30 years for the sale of a drug that we weren't even bringing in. Hell, they were bringing it in. And it looked like at the time that we was making progress, this is during the 1990s, Bill Clinton, that's when they started to flood our neighborhoods with drugs all over again. But whenever the Black Panther Party were making their movements, the same thing happened. So who is to say that the Democrats are our friends? Fuck the bullshit. We have no friends. If we want friends, like Dr. John Henry Clark said, look in the mirror. And if nothing friendly is staring back at you, then you have no friends. Now, the next two presidents, I don't even have to tell y'all who they are. Listen to this clip.
Were you aware that your great-great-grandfathers were slave owners in Alabama before the Civil War, and has that revelation caused you to change your position on reparations?
You know, I find myself once again in the same position as President Obama. We both oppose reparations, and we both are the descendants of slaveholders.
That's right, kinfolk. Barack Hussein Obama. Y'all know that that man didn't do for us what he was supposed to do for us. If there were going to be a perfect opportunity for us to get reparations or compensations or something that's going to level the playing field so that we can have a bigger stick to fight with, it should have came through the hands and the presidency of Barack Hussein Obama. But what did he do, y'all?
I don't have time to feel sorry for myself. I don't have time to complain. I'm going to press on. I expect all of you to march with me and press on. Take off your bedroom slippers. Put on your marching shoes. Shake it off. Stop complaining. Stop grumbling. Stop crying. We are going to press on. We've got work to do.
That man went out there and he got rights for the Asians. That man went out there, he got rights for the gays.
I believe that gay couples deserve the same legal rights as every other couple in this country. That's why I ordered federal agencies to extend the same benefits to gay couples that go to straight couples, wherever possible. That's why we're going to keep fighting.
He did everything within his power to keep us from prospering.
There is not a black America.
We ain't gonna even get started talking about Joseph R. Biden, which was the last one, a Democratic president with a Democratic Congress. The man, you talking about one that flew over the cuckoo's nest.
With dealing with everything we have to do with, look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
He sat in office and shanghaied that office in position to prevent Kamala Harris from becoming the president and getting drumming up the support that she needed, telling folks that he was doing all right, as if we can't see him. But hell, Kamala ain't black no way. She didn't need to win, if you ask me. So, the question is still on the table. Y'all, is the Democratic Party the party for black folk? Because we know that the Republicans are not. We know that the independents are not. We know that any other, especially the Tea Party. So when I say to y'all that black folks can start our own political party, who is there out there to say that we can't do it? It looked like them folks started a Tea Party candidacy and campaign just as soon as Barack Obama touched that office and they thought he was going to win.
Who's the face of the Tea Party today? Activists straight out of the 18th century, presidential candidates with a right-wing social agenda, intellectuals opposed to big government, grassroots campaign strategists? The answer, all of them. The Tea Party is hard to define because it doesn't want to be. It's anti-big government, anti-liberal, anti-Barack Obama.
But hell, he worked more in their favor than in ours from the get-go. So what you think? Should we tell these Democrats and their token Negroes when they come around us talking all of this yee-yang about Jim Crow?
They want to take us back, y'all. We can never be satisfied so long as a Negro in Mississippi cannot vote. And a Negro in New York believes he has nothing for which to vote. Family, we are here because we are the supermajority and they are afraid of our power.
Hell, all of them gonna do the same thing to you. Because one thing I don't believe totally, and that's the president running the country anyway. So, do we need to abandon our plans of action voting for these Democrats? And when they come around, simply say to them, fuck the bullshit.